Wonderful to have you joining us on this beautiful fall morning. And today I'm joining you from the southeastern corner of the beautiful state of Pennsylvania in the little town of Bernathen. And what we're talking about today is today I thought we would actually take a little detour and just take a look at relationships and a passage that oftentimes gets mistranslated, which is kind of fun. Not mistranslated, misused, which is kind of fun to look at because I think there's a lot of insight in it. And the reason why I wanted to like take this little detour is just simply because there's been a lot going on this October. A lot of people are doing baptisms and weddings and blessings and this, that, and the other thing. October's become quite a busy month, and it just was on my mind. And I thought, I kind of would like to speak to it a little bit this morning. And it's under the idea built to last. So how do we build relationships that really last? Now the important caveat I want to add to this is that there are deal breakers out there. I want to be really clear about that. There are relationships that just don't work, didn't work. So people leave them, and that's a healthy thing, I think, a lot of the time. And regardless of kind of where you are on that relationship continuum, what I want to talk about today is just an interesting part that applies whether you're single, divorced, married, remarried. It just has a lot of application to it, and yeah. So I'm gonna start with this. So I do, at New Church Live, we do a lot of ways. Got a lot of young people as part of our church, and it's just a great way to kind of, as a pastor, get out there and get amongst people who might be looking for a church. And inevitably, I tell them, well, you can pick some readings that you'd like, and I'll be glad to do them as part of the service. And there's some readings that always get picked, or nearly always get picked. And one of them is 1 Corinthians 13, which I'm going to read for you here in a minute. And there's no doubt when I read it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard that a bunch of times. So I'm going to read it, and I'm going to tell you something that I think is a little bit surprising about it. And if you are a New Church Live goer on Sundays, you've heard me say what I'm about to say before, but I think it's still really significant, and it's always a great reminder for all of us. So 1 Corinthians 13. Now this is written after the death of Jesus. It's written by Paul, and Paul is writing here on love, and these are arguably I think the most beautiful words about love ever written. I will show you the most excellent way. And that's a beautiful statement right there. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I'm only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Now, the beauty of that, folks, is this. So people all the time cite that, and they want it read at weddings, and it's really a great, terrific wedding reading. And yet here's the amazing part. Here's the part where it oftentimes, I don't know, maybe misapplied isn't the right word, but just understanding its application a little bit differently. This is real important. That was not written at a wedding. It wasn't written for Paul to do a wedding ceremony. It wasn't written by a pastor, by me, who happens to do a fair number of weddings. It wasn't any of that. It was written to a community that was struggling with how to get along with each other. They had to, for lack of a better word, they had lost the plot. Now that is super critical to understand. I think a lot of the time in our Western culture, and I personally battle this all the time with our faith, it's so easy to think of faith as a private salvation project. And I do that all the time. I see people doing that all the time. That like it's about me and my relationship with God. And maybe I'm going to throw my marriage in there and maybe a couple of my key relationships in there. And that's not really Jesus's message. And it's not to say that there's nothing wrong with the idea of private salvation or working on your own self. That's true. But true spirituality always has a both and. It's both this working on what's here and working on what's out there. It's in and it's out. It's the inner work and it's the outer work. And passages like this really point us to that outer work, that idea that we are, yep, in our relationships, we're supposed to have this deeply loving approach. And we're also at the same time to have it in our communities. And when you look through the passage here, I mean, it's kind of interesting, and I've done this before with looking at the criteria. You could judge your marriage on these things, or your relationship on these things, your relationship with your communities on these things. Are you patient? Are you kind? Are you not envious? Are you not boastful? Are you not proud? Are you ever rude? Are you ever self-seeking? Are you ever angry? Do you ever keep records of the other's wrongs? Wow. There's a to-do list for us this weekend. No matter whether you're single, married, divorced, remarried, whatever. Like, there is a to-do list. And don't just let it stop at your relationship. Like, obviously you want to work on it there, because that's so much kind of the I don't know, the crucible where communities get built is in these smaller relationships. But let it echo out too. Really think, like, okay, First Corinthians 13, actually, God's writing this to all of us. He's writing it to the whole kit and caboodle. And that's how we're supposed to act. We're supposed to act into that as best we can. So take a look again at First Corinthians 13. And just a little gentle reminder, it's not just for you, it's for all your relationships and all your communities, and every part of that. And that's how we build a relationship that's built to last. When we really get this triangle that Christian New Church theology talks about, where Emmanuel Swedenborg says, it's all about love, wisdom, and use. That's a key to all relationships. And we would say it this way in modern language: it's all about love, it's all about wisdom, and it's all about service. What you love, what you know, and how are you going to serve given those two things. So that's my thought for the weekend, folks. I hope you have a great time. And I know I've got a lot ahead of me this weekend. That's going to be a ton of fun. So wishing you all the very best. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little meditation. For those of you joining us for the first time, we ring a bell. You just listen to the bell from the beginning to the end as a way to still our minds. And then after we do that, we'll do the Our Father prayer, followed by a blessing. And then if you would like to, you are more than welcome to leave a note on New Church Live's Facebook page, and I will be reading off of that live here in a few minutes. And just a reminder, if you put a note up there and I don't see it, I look on my phone, and sometimes my phone doesn't show the same notes that show up on Facebook, in which case I'll reply to you as soon as I can. And if you reply later on in the day, that is fine, or later on the week even, which many people do. I'll be more than glad to respond a little later. So with that, friends, let's all get a big breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still B. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace and bring you home. Amen. All right, folks. So if you go to New Church Live's Facebook page, I'd be able to give you a quick shout out and hello here. It just takes a couple of minutes to load. And and this weekend, actually, one of the fun weddings I have this weekend is Terrence and Kathleen. And Terrence and Kathleen go way, way, way back. I've known them for quite a while. I was having a hard time loading this morning. Known them for a long time, so that's super fun. A lot of couples I get to know, obviously, but I certainly don't know them for as long as I have known these two. So, a lot of comments today. All right. Okay, let's take a look. Marcus, good morning, God morning. Amen to that. Way, way well said. Good morning. Awoke to the sweet sound of rain falling on the roof. Oh, doesn't that sound good? We have a little like the world's smallest cabin, and it has a tin roof. So I love that sound. Uh, it's funny how we can get sidetracked from the miraculous by the mundane. Totally get that. Mary writes, "Good morning, friends," and I totally agree with that. Mike writes, "Good morning to everyone." Mike, good morning to you, buddy. Patricia, love that little heart there. Uh, Perry answered yes to all these questions. It's totally. I mean, I don't even get past the first one, right? Like love is patient. Okay, so patient in mind. Nope, not that patient. So yeah, it's a list. And again, folks, like God's giving you that list because He just wants you to smile. I think He knows it's progress, not perfection, as the saying goes. Uh, that to-do list is so important in parenting. Yes, and Tori, that's the whole point, I think, of First Corinthians 13 is it gets read about weddings and we think, oh, that's just weddings. But it's not. It's parenting, it's work, it's community, it's the whole thing. Yeah, Sherry, it kind of makes an interesting grid. Actually, I've done that before with turning it into a grid. Uh, Tori writes, I got the book in the mail yesterday. Got to read a few pages, and I'm so excited. So, yeah, so you folks, you're invited to that too. So, we will send you a free book called The Art of Gathering, and then we're going to gather on Tuesday night, November 10th at 7 p.m., and we're going to be chatting, which will be a ton of fun about what's the art of gathering. How do we gather in this new age? And what we're doing here today is part of that, and we just want to see how to keep it going. Lindy, good morning to you, my friend. Rick, good morning. And I will have just a terrific, terrific, terrific weekend. Good morning from Pigeon Ford, spider riding through the Smokies. Oh, is that fun? And is that the one, Rick, that has all the serpentine stuff? Maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah, Linda writes it's the whole enchilada, and it is. All right, folks. We're just wishing you all the very best. May God bless your days and your ways, and and live a little First Corinthians 13 weekend. Take care. Bye bye.